Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Vautour. I work with SciAps, and I'm here to talk to you today about field portable libs for lithium exploration. So a little different. It's going to be a fairly quick talk here, but so quick little background on the company. So we're a Boston-based company. We specialize exclusively in handheld field portable chemical analyzers, so XRF and LIBS instruments. So, we sell these into a variety of different markets: geochem, mining, oil and gas, kind of geoacademic is definitely a focus for the company. So it's a newer company, formed in 2012, but a long history in the industry. So the core founders, the key team, including the CEO, Don Sackett, they were the founders of a company called Niton back in the early 90s, and they sold that company to Thermo Fisher in the late 90s, and then they started a company called Innovex Systems in 2000, and that was sold to Olympus in 2010. So they were that kind of core team of people were really the pioneers of handheld XRF technology. So a lot of people in this room have probably used either the Niton or the Innovex or Olympus systems. And then in 2012, they founded SciAps, and they had a 5-year non-compete on XRF. So they came out with the LIBS product first, handheld LIBS. And then in 2015, we came out with the XRF. Okay, so quick intro. I'm going to talk about a little background on LIBS in general, and then we'll go through a case study here from Sonora, the Agua Fria lithium project. So, this slide kind of speaks for itself. Lithium's been a very hot commodity over the last few years, and especially over the last couple of years. So a lot of demand for coming mostly from the EV market is what's driving it, obviously. So lots of different, tools on the market. Currently, the only handheld elemental analyzers are XRF and LIBS. And, there's some other ones like FTIR and Raman and hyperspectral that'll do mineralogical analysis. But currently, XRF does not do lithium. So it's too light of an element for XRF to measure. And this is where LIBS really comes into play. So they're both, spectroscopic techniques. They do elemental analysis, down to kind of low ppm, single-digit ppms for most elements or many elements. But where LIBS is different is it has a broader range of elements that it can detect, so it can see most of the periodic table. And the light elements are actually where it's best. So elements like lithium, carbon, beryllium, sodium, elements that XRF can't see, LIBS actually does very well. Okay, so LIBS, it stands for laser-induced breakdown spectroscopy. Historically, it's been just pretty much a benchtop sort of lab instrument, and we've come out with this handheld instrument. It's a form of optical emission spectroscopy. So essentially, what we're doing is we're vaporizing a small part of the sample, and then we measure the light that comes off of it. So these are some of the different options. You've got, like lab-based big instruments, sort of semi-portable field portable instruments, and then the handheld instruments. So this is, a little schematic of the process. We use a pulsed laser to ablate the sample. It heats it up to a couple thousand degrees Celsius within about 1 or 2 nanoseconds, and then that creates a plasma, an ion plasma. And as the plasma cools, the light is collected and run through a series of spectrometers, and then we can identify which elements are present based on the wavelength. And all of this happens in an argon environment. Argon just kind of lets the light burn brighter for longer, so you get better signal intensity. You can use other gases as well, like helium. Argon tends to work best for most elements, though. This is an example of what the spectrum looks like here. So we've got wavelength on the x-axis and then intensity on the y-axis. It's very data rich, as you can see. It's a busy spectrum, so lots going on there. Some elements have one or two peaks, others have hundreds of peaks. So lithium's got 2 peaks. Something like iron has probably 200 peaks. So there's you can do qualitative or quantitative analysis. Qualitative would be stuff like geochemical fingerprinting, mineral ID. You can use multivariate techniques and even use AI and machine learning approaches. And then there's quantitative. You can similarly use univariate or multivariate approaches to calibrate it and get quantitative data. So the laser is about 100 microns in diameter. It's a very small spot size, and obviously that sort of has pros and cons. But one of the kind of unique advantages is that it's spatially precise. So you can target individual minerals and look at mineral chemistry, which is pretty unique. So the laser will actually raster. You can prescribe a raster pattern anywhere from 1 location to 256 locations. That 256 location pattern would be about 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. And that's an example of what the burn mark looks like there. Yeah, so calibrations, I guess, just to talk about some of the challenges, the calibration is highly matrix dependent. So you need a matrix match calibration. So for example, if you're looking for lithium, you would need a lithium pegmatite calibration or a lithium clay calibration. They don't transfer over between rock types. So it has to be a matrix match calibration. Sample prep is also critical. Obviously with that small spot size, it's really, you might be testing 1 or 2 minerals at that scale. So having a pulp that's been pressed into a puck is critical. So there's a variety of different sample prep setups on the market. There's different presses available. This is the reflex press right there. So this is an example of what the calibration looks like. Included with the instrument is a program called Profile Builder, and the idea is that users can build their own calibrations very easily and quickly in the field without having to send the analyzer back to the factory. And there's kind of a workflow that walks you through it. It's easy to use but powerful. We actually use it in the factory to calibrate these instruments as well. So this is just an example of kind of what the process looks like here. Okay, so yeah, quick case study. This is, again, the Agua Fria exploration project here in Sonora, Mexico. Lithium Australia had it or still has it. I'm not sure. This is going back to, I think, 2018. And we're going to look at, how they use LIBS and what the outcome was. So they were doing RC drilling, and they took 3-meter RC composites that were, split. They ran all the sample prep. They, crushed, pulverized, pressed them into pellets, and ran, I think, almost 150 different samples. So what we did is we test averaged 3 individual shots, moving to different locations on the puck. So tested the puck in 3 different spots, and then averaged that together to get one result. Tests are very quick. They're about 1.5 to 2 seconds. So it's very easy to run multiple tests. And then we compared the data to the lab data. So again, this is actually the setup that they used. And here's an example of the data. So this is the actual data from their project. It worked out pretty well, and this was all done in the field. So 148 different samples over 4 drill holes. The downhole plot just to show the trend. So the data, trended quite well. And this just shows that, different lithologies here going from basalt down to the hectorite clay. And you can see, the lithium certainly spikes. So some observations, for best results, samples should be flat, they should be dry, well consolidated. Quantitative analysis requires like a well-prepared calibration, empirical calibration. And, just a user that understands that, this is a targeted approach. We've got a very small spot size that we're testing. And so it's, training and all that is always very important. Yeah, so, there's a variety of different pathfinders that you can use for lithium, depending on, what type of lithium deposit it is. But, the nice thing about LIBS is that you're measuring actual lithium directly. So there's no guesswork, there's no pathfinders needed. This is a quote from Len Kolf. He's the exploration manager with Atlantic Lithium, and he just says how they use handheld LIBS in conjunction with XRF and airborne geophysics, and layer all those data sets together, and have had good results on their exploration programs doing that. So yeah, conclusions: handheld LIBS can provide valuable field data in a field or lab setting to complement conventional methods and techniques. Sample prep is important, but fairly simple to do. And yeah, it allows you to measure lithium directly using LIBS. That's it. Any questions?